Some days are just better than others, aren't they? Today we've got all day, we've got Alfa's Bolocco test track to ourselves, we've got glorious sunshine. Oh yeah, and I've got the keys to that, the new Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Tough day at the office. In this video we're going to be breaking down Alfa's new supercar into bite-sized chunks. Hopefully not literally.
Don't put that in.
We'll be finding out how fast it is, telling its backstory, asking whether it's one of the most beautiful Alfas ever, assessing its handling, exploring its incredible interior, and stick around to the end when we'll reveal how much it costs. Prepare to be shocked. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room first, shall we? Isn't this car just a Maserati MC20 in a fancy frock? Well, yes and no. So the two cars do share some commonality, mostly the lower half of the carbon tub, the front and rear aluminium subframes. The engines started their development life in a similar place, but they've gone off on their own Alfa and Maserati journeys. They're both 3-litre twin-turbo V6s, but we're assured they're very different power plants. And this car, interestingly, gets the suspension from the Giulia GTAM, but that was the whole point with this project for Alfa Romeo. They didn't want to get sidetracked with some crazy, difficult technical exercise like the Aston Martin Valkyrie or the AMG 1. They wanted to keep it simple. They wanted to use the components that they knew worked, that they had at their disposal, and focus on the stuff that they did really well. Style and emotion. It produces an identical 621 brake horsepower to the MC20 and weighs 1,550 kilograms. An uprated version of the 8-speed DCT gearbox is fitted, and there's an active rear axle for rear wheel steer. Top speed is a claimed 207 miles an hour, which translates to 333 kilometers an hour. See what they did? Which is a little higher than the MC20, and the 0 to 62 time is 3 seconds dead. The question is then, is the new 33 Stradale supercar quick? Well, it's certainly not slow. If you bury it, it really does shift. Second gear. Oh, there we go. I have to say, I think my internal gyrometer has been forever ruined by hypercars with over 1,000 horsepower and fast EVs these days, because for me it just feels swift, not absolutely mind-blowingly rapid. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. That means on this track here at Alfa's test track or out on the road, it means you can actually use all the performance and you can use it often. I think the bigger question, and see Ferrari F80 for the same problem, is whether a twin-turbo V6 is an exotic enough, an exciting enough engine for a car that costs such a phenomenal amount of money. Look, it's a great engine, this. It's actually really interesting. Listen to the noise it's making behind me. We've got the flaps open in the exhaust system. There's a really nice kind of bassy, boosty sound, and then you got this turbo whistling away on the top. It's got character. It sounds good, and the power delivery is really meaty. In no way does it let the car down. It doesn't hinder the experience at all. The problem is the cars that it's inevitably going to be compared to. So the old Alfa 8C, which cost a whole lot less than this car, that had one of the best noises ever. That naturally aspirated V8. What an engine that was. And of course the Maserati MC20 costs a whole lot less. And the engine, it doesn't sound quite as raw as it does in this car, but it offers almost the same experience. So for me, if I was going to be spending this amount of money, I think I might want something a bit more special. Speaking of motoring history, a brief interlude then to refresh us all on the pedigree bloodstock from which the 33 Stradale originates. It is, of course, a modern take on arguably Alfa Romeo and therefore the world's most beautiful car. The original 33 Stradale from the 60s was a road version of a race car designed by Franco Scaglione, a designer with such treats as the Alfa Bat cars and Lamborghini 350 GTV on his CV. But the 33 was his Mona Lisa, and only 18 were ever made. Alfa will make 33 of this new version, which makes it positively common. At launch, it was offered with either this V6 or a pure EV powertrain, but like Maserati, who recently canned the pure electric MC20 Folgore through lack of demand, Alfa will be doing the same here. Only a handful of customers were even interested in EV, and in the end, all 33 of them went for combustion. Each one can be customised to your heart's desire, of course. Indeed, Alfa is classing all 33 cars as one-offs, and all will be manufactured by revered Italian coach builder Touring Superleggera, which immediately makes it 46% cooler. Not that it needs any help in that department, because we'll just look at it. It's absolutely outrageous. So let's point out some of the choice design cues. Starting here by my right shin, with the big bulbous low set headlight. Big nod to the original 33 Stradale, but it's got some new tricks up its sleeve, namely these eyelash style LED strips. I counted them earlier and there's 33 of them. You've also got this kind of shield grille at the front, absolutely gorgeous. Got this 3D effect. It's made from these layers and it's all solid metal. The wheels, so 20-inch wheels, there's 3 styles to choose from. They're all forged and then machined aluminium. These are my favourite style, the big telephone dials. I don't even mind the gold. And then we get to the real party piece, which is the door. Of course, massive nod to the original, that shape of the windscreen surround and the way that the top of the door cuts into the roof. The roof, by the way, when you look at this car from above, makes a really interesting X shape. So the bottom half of the carbon tub, that's shared with the MC20, but everything on top is new. It's carbon fibre, it's got a steel and aluminium structure within it, and it acts effectively like a roll cage. The doors themselves, so they open up. There's a hinge at the front, there's a hinge up here on the roof. Pure drama, almost worth the entry price alone. Big air intake here, again another nod to the original 33 Stradale. Intake for the engine on the top, intake for the intercooler on the bottom. This little carbon lip here, this was added just to improve the airflow in there. And if we come around the back, a couple more things. The first, polycarbonate rear screen. You can see the rear view camera set there in the middle. That must get pretty hot because it's right above the engine. You can see through it, but there's not a whole lot to see, if I'm honest. A very cool Alfa Romeo badge, but not a whole lot of the engineering in the engine underneath. The rear lights, they're very cool indeed. Effectively, these massive tubes that are just busting through the bodywork. And finally, a whacking great carbon fibre diffuser with your 4 tailpipes embedded in it. Now, I don't normally do design critiques because you've all got your own set of eyeballs and you've all got your own opinions. However, we have a new contributor to Top Gear magazine, one of the most revered car designers ever, a guy called Frank Stephenson. He designed the McLaren P1, by the way, and we actually asked him to critique the Alfa 33 Stradale. So these are Frank's words and not mine, and he did have a few pointers. He says, the intake design is much more aggressive than the original. Not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. He recommends that the top of this mirror should be black to blend into the glass area. He also says, what about a thinner A-pillar to reduce visual weight? Quite right, Frank. He also goes on, despite criticising it in several areas here, to say that there's room for improvement, but still a smoking hot effort from Alfa. And do you know what? I agree with Frank, because it's not perfect, this car, but it is brave. It references the past, but it doesn't cling to it. It's, who am I kidding? It's a bright red Alfa Romeo supercar, and I want to lick it. Moving on, while I still have a shred of dignity intact. Next, it was time to find out how this car handles. So we moved to the Langer track, a piece of twisting, undulating tarmac that mimics the world's best B-roads, just without sweaty, lycra-clad, middle-aged men on bikes coming in the opposite direction. Right then, corners. We shall be taking some, but first let me explain a little bit more about the modes that you get. It's pretty simple. There's only two modes. Strada, which is the softer one, so less sharp throttle response, softer suspension. The valves in the exhaust don't actually open up until about 3,500 RPM. And then you've got Pista. Pista makes everything more aggressive. It makes everything louder. You know the drill. And then you can have Pista with ESC off as well. And don't worry, I'm going to be explaining all these interior buttons that are here above my head and here down here on the center console in a bit, in much more detail. But this is just an overview for the handling section. We've also got multi-link suspension. We've got adaptive dampers. We've got Brembo carbon ceramic brakes. And here's an interesting little nugget for you. F1 driver and all-round funny man Valtteri Bottas actually helped to sign this car off once it got to prototype phase and managed to bag himself one of the 33 cars. So two things here. One, the handling should be on point, and number two, I'm looking forward to some funny content on Bottas's socials based around the 33 Stradale. Okay, so what can I describe to you on this more road-based course? We'll start with the engine, continue with the engine, shall we say. It's got that lovely, fizzy, lively character that I remember from the MC20. You can leave it in pista mode without the ESC off, and it does allow a little bit of slip, the odd slide here and there, which is really, really nice. But this engine, it's got this sort of lunging, generous, elastic power band. It's really fun to drive. A bit more guttural here, a little bit more raw than in the Maserati, if my memory serves me, but there are similar feels. The steering, a little bit more weight than I was expecting, but I'm not going to complain about that. The brakes are excellent. Even when we didn't have any temperature in the carbon ceramics earlier, there was a bit of feel, and they've set it up so you've got to give them a good firm push, like a track car, like a race car. And I like that because you know what the car's doing underneath you. The gearbox, twin clutch manual, gorgeous paddles behind the wheel. I like what it's doing. The upshifts in pista mode are actually quite aggressive. You get a nice little donkey kick in the back. Makes you realise you're driving something quite serious. But the truth is, there's a flow to this car. Bit like you get with the MC20. It's not all up in your face and aggressive. It's comfortable. I mean, we're on a flat track, so I can't give you the definitive word on the ride, but it's not overly aggressive. It's not demanding to drive this car. You could use it in all sorts of situations. So it's been set up to be used properly and often, and under no circumstances should the Alfa 33 Stradale, despite its price tag, end up as a museum piece. The best bit though could well be the interior, which is a million miles from the MC20's slightly plasticky, sparse cabin. Instead, the 33 feels expensive. Welcome everyone to the interior of the Alfa 33 Stradale, and the guiding principle when they were designing this was to put tactility ahead of technology, and that is a philosophy that just makes my heart sing. And straight away, right in front of you, you've got this gorgeous 3-spoke steering wheel. Shock horror, without any buttons or haptic feedback capacitive surfaces on it. It's just a steering wheel, and it's made out of gorgeous materials, as is the whole of the interior, to be fair. So you've got this lovely tan and brown leather absolutely everywhere. You've got this machined aluminium. It's on the wheel, it's right down the middle of the center console, it's all the way across the dash, and then you've got the leather on the top of the dash. So this is the more classic configuration for the car. It's also the correct configuration for the car because it is a retro homage to the original 33 Stradale. If you have no taste, you can also order it slathered in carbon fibre and Alcantara. But this is the one you want to go for. There is some technology in this interior though, so if I look at the instrument cluster ahead of me, it's fully digital, but I'll forgive it because it's surrounded by these amazing telescopic hoods that kind of reach out towards you, and you've got these lovely tactile, beautiful feeling metal paddles behind the wheel. Let's move on to the center console. Don't quite know where to start, so I'm just going to start at the back and take you through all the buttons, because each one of them is a tactile delight, and there's some fantastic functions going on here. So the quadrifolio, the 4-leaf clover button here. If you are in the softer Strada driving mode, this is a way to shortcut to open the flaps in your exhaust pipe for maximum noise. If you are in the harder, more aggressive mode, Pista, then this is the way that you activate your launch control. Moving forwards, we have a twist knob, I shall call it, for turning on the ignition, twist it again to turn on your engine. This is a kind of iDrive style wheel here for your infotainment screen. What infotainment screen, I hear you cry? You'll find out in a minute. Then these two lovely knurled switches here. It looks like something you might find in an aeroplane cockpit. This one, you select first gear with the paddle, and then this is how you choose between manual or automatic mode. And this one over here is how you select reverse. Up onto this section, this is how you select Pista and Strada modes. Turn it again towards Pista and you'll go into Pista with ESC off, and underneath it another switch for the suspension. So you can be in the more aggressive driving mode but have the softer suspension, aka the settings that you want for UK roads. Some more switches over here. Port, that is simply to lock and unlock your doors. Assetto, that is for the nose lift system. And Telefono, that is so you can answer your phone with a mechanical click of a switch, which I absolutely love. And I've saved this one to last because if I flick this, a screen magically emerges from behind the dashboard, and this is their philosophy entirely, hiding the technology behind there. So you can change your navigation, you can change your phone settings, you can change your climate control, and then you hit this again and away it goes. This over here is your glove box. Oh, I almost forgot the entire switchboard above my head, which makes me feel like I'm in Top Gun every time I look at it. Another row of switches up here. This is internal lights. This is a very cool one. So if you hit this, there's electrochromatic glass in the panels above your head. Click it once and they go dark and tinted. Click it again and they go clear and let in more light. Heated wing mirrors, heated front screen. These are for your electric windows. That is a rear view mirror that takes a feed from the camera behind you. And that's about it. Oh, there's a handy little groove here for putting your phone in. I thought that was nice. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we all know that this car has its roots in the MC20, and the mission here was, can they raise the perceived value of a car by using clever design, amazing materials, tactility and analog features instead of just slapping screens all over it, to raise the perceived value of this car, right? Because it's going to cost so much money. And you know what? I don't know if they've gone the whole hog and made it 8 times more expensive feeling and looking than a Maserati MC20, but it is a big, big step on, and one of the loveliest interiors I've ever spent some time in. Speaking of which, clear off because I want to spend some more time in here. Let's wrap things up then by revealing the price. There's no easy way of saying this, but this car costs £1.7 million. And yep, it's all sold out. It's a mad price, a mad price, and only partly justified by the fact that there's going to be so few of them. And it has to be said, the design and quality is several notches above the Maserati MC20. The thing is, these days it seems to be easier to sell a handful of these to the mega rich than it is to sell a load more at a lower price point to the merely very wealthy. But look, the world is always better when there's a brand new Alfa Romeo supercar in it. And this one is not just for looking at, it deserves to be driven.